some type of actual programming, a subliminal program. So when a traumatic event, when the trigger was activated, the child would go wild. It was almost like creating a Manchurian candidate, for lack of better words. And they use evolution to actually back it up and figure out how to do this, because they wanted these animalistic intellects. They wanted these guys who were basically trying to not only move strictly by their instincts, but they actually wanted to bring it to the next level with the Superman, whereby they actually engineered the evolution of humans to the next level. This so-called perfect blonde-haired, blue-eyed, person who was perfect in every way. What a lot of people may not know is that was actually a throwback to the Nephilims. These guys believed that they were the descendants of the Nephilims. They believed that the Gomerian tribe of the Nephilims actually entered into the Hales of Europe, and they ended up becoming the Teutons, which are the Gaelic Celts, which ended up becoming the Germans. So they actually thought that they were going to purify out their bloodline and sort of do a reverse evolution going back to the perfect being. And all of this was mixed in, and all of it was justified by Darwinism.
When you talk about the trauma of children, when you take children and you sexualize them at a very young age, like they are doing in this country and have been doing over a period of time, you create a generation of, I don't even have a word to describe, but it's very wicked what has been done and what is being done.
That's right. It's extremely wicked. I would say you create monsters, basically. You create these children who have no conscience, who don't care anything about it. And a lot of them, the saddest part about it, is that what they'll do is try to fill that void and try to cover that hurt. What they'll do is they'll begin to act out on what the trauma produced in them. They'll have this warped sense of understanding of what real love is. They'll think it's all tied in with the trauma. If I really love somebody, I'll do this to them, because a lot of it, unfortunately, happens with their relatives.
Well, and not only that, you end up with young people that will go and follow orders.
Right.
Like the youth corps.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Right. Yes. You sure will. And the saddest part about all of that is what they do is they use this kind of secularistic, atheistic, postmodern mindset to justify it. They say, well, there's no holy, loving God who, although what happened to you was unfortunate, here, let me show you how to get to this person to bring healing. Let me show you what it says in God's Word about your character, about who you really are. You're not this thing that somebody tried to make you. You're not garbage. You're not this. You're not that. You are very special. You are basically a creation in the image and likeness of God. This should have never happened to you, and God wants to heal you. And let me show you how to get to this holy, loving God so that by faith He can make you whole. None of that's in the equation. It's all a matter of, this is just the type of thing that happens. And, you see this thing where because evolution, because of all of the effects of it, such as what we're talking about, have happened, you see this thing where we just kind of accept it. You've gone from this thing where it used to be almost considered some type of cardinal sin for a girl to have a child out of wedlock, especially in her teenage years, when I was growing up. Now you have this thing whereby it's the new thing for them to do that. They actually want to go out and get pregnant. They have bets to see which one of them is going to have relations with the most guys so that they can get pregnant out of wedlock in their teenage years. You have this whole desensitization to sin as a result of the fact that, we don't answer to anybody. We don't have a God we have to answer to. He didn't just speak things into existence by His Word. He didn't create it all for a purpose. We're all aimless. We're accidents. We're just kind of doing this thing. I don't know who I am. I don't know what's going on with me. I just have to figure it out on my own and make the most of myself. And so you start guessing and messing up your life as a result of that. And it all ties back amazingly to evolution. It's very interesting that Darwin and even Huxley himself were very concerned about evolution. Although they were promoting it, they were concerned. They said in their writings, this is going to be a scary thing and a frightful thing when people start accepting this. No one will really be safe. They actually made the statement. Now, this is something to say back in the late 1800s. It'll actually get to a point where people will have to leave street lights on at night. And you got to understand, in the late 1800s, that was unheard of. Nobody did. In fact, as late as the 50s and even possibly the 60s or so, people slept with their front doors unlocked. They left the keys in their car. Nobody took it. There wasn't any real situation. There was crime and that sort of thing, of course, but nowhere near like it is now when they took God and prayer out of schools and the Bible out of schools and begin to insert this false doctrine of evolution. As soon as they did that in the 60s, all the crimes shot up, and they haven't come down since.
That's
and
right.
You can take a statistical manual, you can do some research on the computer, you can find right when they inserted the evolutionary doctrine, at the same time they took out the Christian values and the things that promoted Christian values in the schools, all of the major behavioral problems and disorders shot right up off the charts. And they started climbing, and they have not dropped since, from school violence, now to the point now where they have to have, these metal detectors in schools.
Yusef, I've even seen commercials where they're selling bulletproof backpacks for little kids.
It's ridiculous.
Can you believe that?
I can't, in a sense I can, because we know this is the end times, but in a sense it's amazing me that it's going this far and nobody's doing anything because they don't understand the connections between the very things we're talking about.
Right.
They don't understand that, when you say, hey, we came from monkeys, we came from apes, we're not in the image and likeness of God. Human life becomes very cheap.
Yes.
It becomes valueless. It becomes meaningless. So what if I abuse this woman? So what if I do this? It's my life. I'm in control. Nobody can stop me. Survival of the fittest. I'm the most fit. The most ruthless is the one who wins out. So I take what I want by force. If you don't want to hand me yourself in a marriage relationship, I'll take it from you. If you don't want to give me a chance to make money, so I'll take it from you. I'll steal it from you. Survival of the fittest.
Yeah.
It's become so ingrained in our culture that it's mind-boggling, and you see ridiculous things like what you just got through telling me.
Yeah.
So, I was just going to say very quickly that when it comes to the argument of 8 men for evolution, there's no credibility, no credence to it whatsoever. You have these guys saying, this is what we call Nebraska man, but they don't have any more than some tooth. And they build this whole sketch out of what Nebraska man would have looked like out of a tooth, and come to find out it's the tooth of an extinct pig. Or, you have like, this is Cro-Magnon man, or this is this kind of man, and he's in between what we have Homo sapiens and this other one, Neanderthal. But lo and behold, it's a skull cap and a shin bone.
Yeah.
And you build these things that you see on television specials and in books out of this foolishness, and at the same time they say, we have the skeleton of what we believe to be a Neanderthal man. Come to find out, it's just a very overgrown, large man who had rickets and arthritic conditions, arthritic problems. So, you see this stuff, and then you have stuff called the Piltdown man, which is a total hoax. It was proven to be a hoax, where they took the jawbone of one of an animal or something like that and attached it to a human skull and said, this is an ape, this sort of thing, or in between them. And even how these guys are determining how old these things are, it's totally arbitrary. Carbon-14 dating, carbon-21 dating, it's completely arbitrary. You can have two rocks, the same basic composition. They use carbon-14 dating, and depending on where they came from will determine how many millions of years is between them, even though, lo and behold, they were probably generated around the same time period. So there's no proof whatsoever to conclude that it took millions and millions of years to generate anything in creation. In fact, they only made that up because they needed an excuse for all the accidental occurrences that had to take place to get from the primordial soup to where we are now. So they said, it took millions and millions of years. But as I'll show in just a moment with the whole thing about chance, that's absolutely ridiculous, and that's been proven as false. So
what about, Yusef, what about the one they call Lucy?
Right, Australopithecus, yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Basically, that has not been proven to be accurate at all. Now, you have a lot of people out there who actually believe that Australopithecus was in